up? Welcome into your Daily Buckeye Blitz for a Thursday. It's always a thirsty Thursday here, even on Mondays. March 7th, 2024. How's everybody doing? How's your weather? Hopefully it's warming up north. It's warming up down here, I'll tell you that. Starting to get like an early summer. It's been so humid, and even though it's only in the 70s, it's still humid as shit. And we'll see if we get much rain. Hasn't rained in like weeks, but anyway. All right, let's get into it here. Hey, don't forget to hit thebuckeyecast.com. I recommend the video vault. I give it 2 thumbs up. I hope you do too. No ads, no commercials, all the videos you want, all your Buckeye videos right there at your fingertips. We love big tips, don't we? All right. Today's topic, I hope you guys are fired up about. I know I am. The threat of the QB run is coming back to Ohio State. Holy shit. All right. So are the Buckeyes really going to run the ball with a quarterback? I don't know. But having that threat is a good thing, I'll tell you that. So when you think about the Ohio State running game over the years, not just the QB, but just the running game in general, it's been so much more dangerous when we have a quarterback who is a run threat. In Ryan Day's 7 years at Ohio State, 2 of them as OC, the numbers are obvious. I'm going to get into some specific numbers here, but the Buckeyes have had running threats at QB in 2017 with JT Barrett, 2019 and 2020 with Justin Fields. Now, we had quarterbacks with 0 run threat, 2018 with Haskins, 2021, 2022 with CJ Stroud, then last year with Kyle McCord, Honda McCord, some might call him. In the 3 years with a QB run threat, the Buckeyes led the Big Ten in rushing by wide margins, not even close. In those 3 years of 2017, 19, and 20, those are the only years under Ryan Day that the Buckeyes averaged 200 yards rushing per game. Just keep that in mind. Even under CJ Stroud, the Buckeyes still finished first and second, 2021 and 2022 in the Big Ten in yards per carry, but not in average per game. Last year, however, was the worst season on the ground for the Buckeyes, 138.9 yards per game. That's the worst in 20 years for Ohio State. That's not acceptable. So here's some numbers. 2017, 243 yards per game. First in the Big Ten by a margin. 2018, 171 yards per game. That was 7th in the Big Ten. 2019, 266 yards per game. That was first, of course. 2020, 256 yards per game. First, again. By the way, those were Justin Fields' 2 years. In case you forgot. 2021, 180 yards per game. That was 4th in the Big Ten. 2022, that was CJ Stroud, by the way. CJ Stroud again, 2022, 192 yards per game. That was 3rd in the Big Ten. Did not crack 200. And then last year, under Kyle McCord, 138.9, 8th in the Big Ten. So the season averages don't concern Ryan Day in the running game. The concern is focused for him personally on the last game in November. Ryan Day said that, quote, one of the things we've got to do to win the last game of the year is run the football. And in order to do that, you want to have somebody that at least needs to be accounted for in the run game. If the defense says, well, he's not a threat to run it all, that certainly changes the angles, changes the numbers, the leverage, all of the above. And so that was one thing I wanted to make sure we had. So with last year's quarterback, Kyle McCord, he had minus 65 yards rushing. That includes sacks, of course. So he's now at Syracuse. Enjoy your orange juice. So Ohio State went into the portal and brought out them a quarterback from K-State. Will Howard, he started 27 games for K-State, produced 6,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing on his career. I wanted to pull up his numbers here quickly. And in 2022, it's where he got the bulk of his action. 2020 and 2021, he didn't do much at all. Wasn't playing much. So, well, he had 168 attempts in 2020, 1,178 yards. But anyways, 2022, he had 100, almost 200 attempts, 119 completions, 1,600 yards. And then in 2023, last year, he had 357 attempts, 219 completions, 2,643 yards, 24 touchdowns. So Howard isn't the only quarterback on the OSU roster that can run, though. You might remember names like Devin Brown. He's back. He burnt the boats. He has nowhere to go. He was the only QB run option last year. They had to devise a package of plays in the red zone for Devin Brown because Kyle couldn't do it. Then you also got redshirt freshman Lincoln Keenholz. He rushed for 3,000 yards in high school. And then the Buckeyes got, their true freshman QBs, Julian Say and Aaron Nolan, who can both keep plays alive with their legs. Now, when you look at Ryan Day's plan for this upcoming 2024 season, it makes sense that he went after Will Howard in the portal. Ryan Day said, quote, "I think when you look at the guys we have on our roster right now, they all have the ability to do that. It started with that. Then from there, okay, how do they throw the ball? What's their size? What's their intelligence? All those things. But we wanted to make sure there was enough of it," meaning the QB run. He continued, he doesn't need to run around doing all kinds of running with the ball, but he needs to be able to at least be accounted for by the defense. Again, hammering that point home that the defense and the numbers equate, and the defense needs to account for the QB. Howard was not the only runner at Kansas State. He did have 2 career 100-yard games after his freshman year, where he carried the ball 8 to 9 times per game. The rest of his career, he really only carried it like 5 to 6 times on average per game. Will Howard said this recently, quote, "Even though it's not necessarily my forte, people saw me, believe it or not, as a running quarterback my first 2 years at K-State. Like I had a section on the game card called Will Howard Plays, and it was like QB power, QB, etc. That was my thing. But now I feel like that's not me. I'm happy to run the ball." Will Howard is just like most quarterbacks who come to play for Ryan Day at Ohio State. He wants to throw the ball, right? He wants to get that NFL draft status up, show what he can do with his arm. So late in the season, though, yards through the air are going to be hard to come by. The quarterback is going to have to drop his nuts, do whatever it takes to get the job done in short yardage, red zone, whatever it might be. So that's exactly what Will Howard signed up for. He said, quote, "We've talked about it, and I know that when we need to run the quarterback, I'm going to run the ball. And I mean, if we need to run the quarterback 16 times a game, I'll do it. I'm one of those people that I don't care. I just want to freaking go win. At the end of the day, I don't care." So he's got the mentality, and at 6'5", 242, being from Philly, he's got the size and the toughness to do some damage when he does pull the ball down. So I love the mentality. I love the comments. I love that Ryan Day sees the light. I think he saw it before, but now he has somebody that is willing to run the ball, and he doesn't have to be force-fed to run it. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting as we go through the season, long season. You're going to need a second quarterback at some point too. So who sticks around? That's another conversation. So good to see the running game out of the quarterback could be coming back to the Buckeyes. So I got for you today. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.